Hey, it's your Auntie Annie. I'm back again with another dynamic recipe for you. Today it's a little bit different. I'm going to be going ahead and I'm going to actually be baking. This recipe that I'm going to be doing is called Toto. It's kind of a rough coconut raisin cake that Mum used to make for us when we were kids. She actually got the recipe from a friend's mother, but you know, knowing my mom, she made it better than the original. So I'm going to just go through all the ingredients that I will be using in this. So we're going to use 5 cups of flour. We're going to be using 2 cups of sugar, a quart of milk. We're going to use, I think it's 375 grams of raisins, 2 eggs. You can either use with the coconut, shredded coconut, you can either use sweetened or unsweetened, it's up to you. We're going to use, I think this is about a quarter cup of butter, some baking powder, and so we're going to use vanilla, almond extract, a little bit of salt, and some nutmeg that we can use, right? So, and of course, Mom's addition was adding a little white rum to it. So with the eggs, when I beat the eggs, I'll add a couple of caps of white rum to it, but it just gives it a nice little zing. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you how to start everything and get everything prepared in order for us to put all the ingredients together. Okay? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my oven and I'm going to preheat it to 350 degrees. So by the time I get all the ingredients mixed up, the oven will be ready. So it's important that you use a large pan for all the mixing because it's quite a bit of ingredients, right? And here's my baking sheet. I've washed it. I'm going to line it with some parchment paper. So in order for it to stick, I'm going to use just a little bit of oil spray. Not a lot, but... And then I'm going to lay it down so it stays down. So before I actually put the Toto mix in here, I'm going to add just a little bit of, actually when I take the butter out of the container, I'm just going to rub and line this with a little bit of the butter as well. So everything is ready now. I'm going to go ahead and start getting all the ingredients together and get this Toto started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add all my dry ingredients. So let me get my cup and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in, no, let's go in and put in the flour first. So it's going to be 5 cups of flour. So you try, and with baking too, you have to be more precise, right? You can't thing it because it won't come out right. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5. And it's all-purpose flour that I'm using. Okay, so I'll put in 5 cups of that, and then I'll put in for the sugar. Let's get the sugar in here. I'm going to put 2 cups of sugar. Let's see if I can do this without spilling it. 1 and 2. Okay, so once I get the sugar in, I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little mix. Mix those 2 ingredients in. So the butter, it's going to be hard butter that you have to kind of fold into the flour. So that's going to take me a little while. So I'm going to just show you how I basically will start. So I was telling you before that I normally like to use whatever butter I get out of the container. I'll rub it on my my baking dish, right? So I'm going to use a knife to just cut the butter into smaller pieces so that I'm going to be able to knead it into the flour. You have to kind of, it doesn't have to be dissolved, but it has to be worked into the flour. So what I'll do, once I've started doing that, I'll come back and then I'll show you how I go about doing it. So I need to add also, before I started working the butter, I need to have 3 teaspoons of baking powder. That's 1. Don't heap it up, just make it as level as possible. And then I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So here I've just taken the knife and kind of cut the butter up a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and just work with my hand. My hands are clean, just wash them. Just going to go ahead and I'm starting to just kind of mush the butter through all the ingredients in here. So when I've got it to the state that I need it to be, to add the wet ingredients, I'll come back and let you see it, okay? So go. Okay, if you notice, all the big pieces of butter I've worked into the flour. You want to be careful that you don't leave too many big pieces in there. You want to make sure that all of it is worked through. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'll go ahead and wash my hands, and then we'll go ahead with all the wet ingredients to add to the Toto. Okay? So the dry ingredient is ready. I've gone ahead and I've broken 2 eggs. So you're gonna go ahead and just scramble them a little bit, not scramble, mix them up a little bit. And this is where the magic happens with the good old JWray. So I'm gonna add a few capfuls of that. Yeah. 3 capfuls. You can put as much as you want. I'm gonna go ahead and whisk that all in. And if I taste it and I need to put a little bit more, I will when I've mixed everything together. So the ingredients for the wet ingredients, the eggs, 1/4 of milk, and I'm going to put vanilla and almond extract. Now you have to be careful with the almond extract because the taste can be overpowering. So you're very gentle in how much you use. So I think the recipe calls for 2 or 3 capfuls. So I'll go ahead and, like I said, you taste it, and once the dough everything is mixed together, you can taste to see if it needs anything. And we'll go ahead and we'll add a little bit bigger capfuls of vanilla. And here we go. I'll put 3 of these capfuls. I'll get a more precise measurement when I put the recipe on when I upload the recipe, the ingredients, I'll try to be a little bit more precise. So I'm going to mix this in. You can put in the eggs and milk first and then add the vanilla and stuff after as well. Whichever one you do. Just make sure it's mixed through properly. So we'll go ahead first and we'll add the milk. I just usually throw everything in, and then we start giving it a stir. Work it in. And then we'll work this rest of that ingredient in. So it doesn't have to be a smooth consistency. You just have to make sure everything is worked in properly. So we'll go ahead and I always like to taste it at the end to make sure that I have enough sugar, I have enough spices. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to grate half of a nutmeg in the So once I finish grating it, I'll come back, okay? Yeah, just a quick reminder, I forgot to crack the nut, take the nutmeg out of the pod. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to grate about half of this size nutmeg in all the batter, and then I'll come back when I'm finished. Okay, so the nutmeg's all grated in, so I'm just going to mix in. And I like I said, I do like to give it a little taste to taste and see if everything is all the spices are just right. You know, you have to develop your own in anything, cooking or baking, what the taste will be. And it's over time, when you continually make it, you'll get to know how the batter should taste. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is that the raisins, I'm going to go ahead and flour them lightly. I'm going to put I don't want too much flour, but about a third. Just so then I go through and I make sure all the raisins get coated with a little bit of flour. If you don't do this, what will happen is that when you put the Toto to bake, the raisins will all sink to the bottom. So when you put flour, when you flour them, it will be all over in the batter and not all on the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead. Seems like this is all ready now. So I'm gonna go ahead and add our coconut. So I use shredded. This one is unsweetened. You can use whichever size. This is a medium size shredded coconut. You can use any size you want. You can also use sweetened, right? Just so happens I only have unsweetened, so I'll go ahead and just pour that in. So it's 2 containers of it, and 200 grams each, so it's 400 grams of coconut. So that's like what it is, like coconut raisin cake mix. So go ahead, and we're going to go ahead and just work it in. So once that's all worked in, I'll go ahead and I'll add our raisins. So I'll be back when I'm ready to add the raisin to the mix. Okay? Okay, so now I've added the coconut. I'm gonna go ahead and add the raisins and work them into the batter. I'll just do it, let's say two batches at a time. So work that in. Make sure you loosen all the raisins so they're all separated. Don't put any clumps of raisins in there. Try not to add the additional flour. So, okay, so that's all in. Go ahead and just stir this in. And then I'm going to give it a little taste, final taste, to see how it is, if I need a little bit more spice. And generally sometimes I do. It's not rocket science, but you just have to, whatever taste you want it to taste like, then you can just add the ingredients as necessary. So let me give a little taste here. I think it could use a little bit vanilla and a little white rum, so I'm going to go ahead and add those. So another capful of the vanilla, and a little bit of JWray. Make another capful of that as well. So we're going to mix it up. So once this is mixed in now, we're ready to go. So we'll just get the baking pan and I'll put it in there, and it's in the oven. So generally it cooks with it between 45 to an hour. Depend on now, because even I am using an electric oven, so maybe a gas oven will be quicker. But how you know it's done is I use a toothpick to stick the middle and around to make sure that it comes out cleanly. Once it comes out cleanly, then you know that it's done. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish mixing this through. I'll come back and show you when I have it in the container, okay, to be baked. So I'm back. I've got my baking sheet ready. So you want a wide baking sheet, about 1 inch or more thickness. It will rise a little bit above it, but it's fine. So I've gone ahead, and the butter container that I had, I've used it to add just a little bit of butter on the bottom of the parchment sheet. So then I'm going to go ahead, let me give it a final stir. Make sure all the bottom is stirred in. Make sure everything's ready. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start up in the top here, come down, work it in. So I'm going to go ahead and scrape the container out, and then I'll be back when I'm ready to put it in the oven. Okay? Okay, so I'm almost ready now to go in the oven. I'm going to kind of slam the container to make sure there are no air bubbles in there and it fits to the side. So this bad boy is ready to go. I'll just wipe this off on the side. Ready to go in the oven. So I put the racks down on the lower part of the oven, and we'll put her in the middle. So like I said, it'll take between 45 minutes to an hour, depending on your oven. So like I said, always check, use a toothpick and put it in, and once it comes out clean, I know it's done. So I'll be back when the Toto is ready, and I'll let you see how it looks, okay? The Toto has been in about 40 something minutes, so I'm going to just give a quick check, and sometimes I like to turn it around, but if you see it's coming nicely, needs a little bit more color on top, and if I put my toothpick in, it came out pretty clean. So I'm just going to let it get a little more color on top, and then we'll take it out. Okay. Okay. That's nice, and that's great. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. It has a lovely color. So this is my mom's famous Toto. So what I'll do is that I'll keep it, I won't cut it until it cools a bit, but I'll cut a piece and then I'll show you what it looks like at the finished product. Okay? All right, I hope you'll try this recipe because it's really a very nice, easy, Mom always says it's a rough cake to her, but it's really beautiful and we all loved it. And these are the special things that we remember most about my mom. Okay? Have a good one.